The relationship between the fans is poisonous, and it can be on occasion quite violent. You know, the bile, the outpouring of bile, especially during an Old Firm weekend, is still quite astonishing, even to someone who's been born and bred in Scotland.
Traditionally, the rivalry between Glasgow's two main football clubs has been based on a religious fault line. In the blue corner, Rangers are seen as a Protestant club, and in the green, Celtic a Catholic one. Not that I saw much evidence on the terraces of theological disputes about transubstantiation. Religion in Glasgow has always been as much about belonging as believing. Which side you belong to, and which side you don't.
I've just always hated Celtic, I've just loved Rangers.
You always hated Celtic?
Aye.
Why do you hate Celtic?
I just hate them so much.
Really?
Aye.
Is that just a figure of speech, or do you really?
I do, I hate them.
Oh gosh. Is it about religion?
Maybe a wee bit, aye.
What don't you like about Catholics?
Just hate them.
The Catholic community would always gravitate towards supporting Celtic. And that meant that on the other side of the city, you know, Rangers supporters were mainly Protestant. And I think that's where it started. I don't think the clubs themselves initially, you know, would turn around and say that they started solely for Catholic or solely for Protestant.
Rangers may not have set out to make the club exclusively Protestant, but a tradition quickly grew up that they never signed Catholic.
What about when players play for the club of the other denomination, when Mo Johnson? I don't know.
Oh. He's talking about evil.
I mean, there was grown families that weren't speaking to each other because there was mixed marriages or whatever. It was a horrible time to be in Glasgow, but Mo Johnston knew exactly what he was doing.
He had to move with burly minders around him all the time. He couldn't go to certain places, couldn't go out alone. There was a real threat that he would have been attacked.
The sectarian rivalry doesn't stop at flags and singing. It can and does turn violent. It can be deadly. Mark Scott was a schoolboy Celtic fan who was on his way home after a match from Celtic Park up there, down this main route into the centre of town. He was wearing a Celtic shirt, which he didn't bother to hide as he went through this Protestant enclave here.
There was thousands of other Celtic fans streaming through that day, and he passed a pub, a Rangers pub, and a young man, a 22-year-old young man, stepped out from the pub doorway and came from behind Mark and slit his throat.
Mark Scott's killer, Jason Campbell, came from a family with a known record of sectarian crimes.
Mark's father said there had been two victims in the incident, one obviously his son, but the other victim was Jason Campbell. He said he was a victim of the community, the family and the environment that he grew up within, which I thought showed incredible presence of mind.
Jason Campbell was defended by one of Scotland's leading barristers, Donald Finlay, who also just happened to be Rangers vice-chairman. Nothing wrong there. Everybody's entitled to a legal defence, and Donald Finlay has also defended Catholics accused of murder and other violent crimes. But it left some people feeling uneasy, a feeling which was made worse 3 years later.
These are the amateur video pictures which captured Finlay singing sectarian songs at a private party held in a Rangers social club.
What I found difficult to understand was, having represented someone who was found guilty of a particularly horrendous sectarian attack, how he could then still indulge in graphic sectarian songs. The particular song that he was caught singing, the lyrics of it were "Up to our knees in Fenian blood, surrender or you'll die." The point was that the words of these songs was actually being acted out in the streets, and young men were dying because of this.
Donald's a Rangers supporter, but I never known him to be totally bigoted. You know, he supports Rangers, and these were the songs that go along with Rangers, so he was caught up and he paid the price for that indiscretion.
In his letter of resignation, Finlay says the events of Saturday night were a serious misjudgment on his part and that his conduct was not acceptable.
I do feel sorry for Donald Finlay when all he was doing was exactly what thousands of other people were doing. I can understand that completely, But it's also let the cat out the bag that sectarianism wasn't just a working class problem. It wasn't just about people on the terraces and sort of football thugs and fights in streets. It was something that was much more deeply embedded in the fabric of Scottish society.